Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Movin' Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. It's the podcast where we watch The Muppets Take Manhattan 2 minutes at a time and talk about it a lot. I'm your host, Anthony Strand.
And I'm your other host, Ryan Rowe.
And joining us today, we have one of our dearest friends. Who is it?
Jessica Evans. That's me.
Jessica Evans from the Tough Pigs Forum.
Yep.
What a thrill. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
All right. And Jess is here to talk with us today about minutes 47 and 48 of The Muppets Take Manhattan. In these minutes, Piggy chases after a mugger and eventually catches up to him. And honestly, that's kind of it.
That is what happens.
That's all. That's all.
Yeah, a concise description of what happens here.
So, over a minute of this clip is literally just cutting back and forth between the mugger is running away and Piggy is chasing after him. So we'll get into some more specific details. But first, I want to talk about the mugger himself. The first thing we see is this guy running off. He's played by a fellow named Gary Tacon, Tacon. I looked this guy up. He's mostly been a stunt performer.
Yeah, I guess that's not too surprising given how physical this scene is.
Yeah.
Right. But what I thought was interesting is he worked as a stuntman like many times for Alec Baldwin and also once for Stephen Baldwin in the Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas.
Yeah, I saw that in his credits. That's fun.
So he's like the go-to Baldwin stunt double guy. And
he doesn't look that much like them, does he? I didn't think he looked like him.
I mean, I can see how, younger, more fit Alec, but I know he did like The Shadow. I can see how you put this guy in a suit, shoot him from behind, style his hair to look like Alec Baldwin.
Right.
Sure.
With stunt doubles, you shoot them from a distance and you dress them the same and style them the same and kind of hope nobody notices or thinks about it.
Yeah.
Right. And that Baldwin connection must have been strong. He was also in an episode of 30 Rock.
What did he do?
He was playing the role of crazy homeless guy in the episode Cleveland, where Liz goes to Cleveland with Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah, do you think that that Alec Baldwin got him that part?
I sure hope so.
He was
I hope that it was
wait a minute, I know just who to get. It's the guy who's my stunt double.
You mug somebody in Central Park and get arrested. It's the natural transmission.
So you think it's the same character? Like that's him 30 years later or 20 years later?
Now
Sure.
we're crazy.
Yeah. He never got back on his feet.
Nope.
Right. As far as I can tell, though, he's still working. He did stunts in the Doctor Strange movie in 2016, that's 32 years after this movie.
Yeah, he's still at it, which must be hard to do stunts as you get older.
Yeah, I would sure think so.
There's a sports reference there. I can't quite pull it out. Isn't that one everybody likes? Tom Brady, isn't he like old for what he does? And that's why people like it.
Yeah, but Tom Brady is 43 years old.
That's old for football?
Right, but I'm saying like this guy must be in his 60s, this movie's 36 years old and the Doctor Strange movie is 4 years old.
Oh yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Like it's decades and decades later.
It's like dog years. That's the equivalent in football years.
Yeah, I guess so. But anyways, yeah. So that's the guy, Gary Tacon. Taken. I don't know how you say him.
I was thinking Taken because it looks like bacon.
It does look like bacon.
And because he's taking the purse. He's taking it.
Exactly.
There you go. And something about Liam Neeson also.
Well,
right?
I don't know if you were going to move on, but I wanted to, speaking of taking the purse, I wanted to talk a little bit about crime in New York City around this time.
Please.
I think we've mentioned that New York was a more dangerous place when this movie was shot and when it came out than it is now. So I did a relatively lazy Google search and found some stuff. In 1984, there were 488,621 cases of larceny theft per 100,000 people reported in New York City.
In what year? Remind me.
1984, when this movie was released. As far as I can tell, larceny theft would be the category that this, the theft of Percy's pig, the theft of Piggy's purse would fall under. So that was 1984.
He's not going to like that, Ryan.
What?
she's not going to like being called Percy's pig.
Oh, no, I don't let Piggy hear this.
No.
And then, in 2019, there were 226,851 cases of larceny theft reported per 100,000 people, which is actually still more than I expected, but it's less than half of what it was in 84. So Central Park would be a safer place for Piggy to be strolling around with her purse today.
And that's because Piggy cleaned up the streets, man.
That's true. What people heard about, there's a wild pig out there beating people up. So, and
a wild pig.
Yeah,
she's wearing a suit jacket. But she's not that wild.
But she spends most of these 2 minutes screaming. So
that's true. That's true.
And those numbers that I just cited came from a website called disastercenter.com, which cites the FBI Uniform Crime Reporting Annual Crime Reports. So thank you to all of those people.
Wow, the FBI Uniform Crime Reporting Annual Reports.
Yes.
I remember getting that out of the Scholastic book order when I was a kid.
Was it illustrated?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Quentin Blake. It was great. All right. No, so anyways, what happens next in this movie? Piggy yells, "My purse, that does it." And like having her purse stolen sends Piggy into a rage that does not cease until this wrong has been righted. She walks over to a man sitting on a park bench. We only see the man's back in this scene. We have no idea who it may be. Nope. If it might be a famous celebrity, we have no idea. But she says, "Excuse me, may I borrow those a moment?" And it's that laugh at the end that I love so much. It's like Piggy trying to be demure, right?
Right. I think it's also interesting that we don't see what the guy has. Like, he's doing something with his hands, like kind of leaned over, sitting on that bench, but we don't actually know right away what Piggy is asking to borrow. It could be anything.
Oh, no, I beg to differ. In 1984, we knew exactly what she was doing as she was leaned over with that outfit on. We may have recognized his back and known precisely, because it was so popular and so rampant, and the rollerblade thing was just such a phenomenon. I should have looked that up and had some amazing statistics to share.
That's probably true. I mean, I guess it wasn't probably wasn't rollerblades. Yeah, it was just the roller skates, right? I feel like rollerblades were from the 90s.
I think we're having the crossover moment mid 80s.
This may be when they were starting to emerge.
Yeah,
and actually, I didn't think to write this down or look anything up, but there's still like a sort of culture of these just like these folks who meet up in Central Park and just roller skate around and like roller skate to music and all this stuff, which is very cool. You can still see them today, or today when there is not a pandemic.
What synchronized like sport roller?
Yeah, I think they're just doing it for fun, but yeah, just like basically like a roller skating party in Central Park.
So as a kid, right, in the 80s, when I think of rollerblading or roller skating, and I had roller skates certainly as a kid, but you think of that Three's Company, where they're like roller skating along the the beach there, and so when it hit in New York as like a fitness thing, it was huge. It really was huge.
Yeah,
I know exactly what she was borrowing.
Oh, sure, and yeah, that probably does explain the presence of the roller skates in this movie.
Yeah, you wouldn't know that watching it later. Like, that's one of those things that there's an interesting movie thing. Like, Anthony, I think about this all the time because you are such an aficionado of the old timey, in the 30s and 40s, and I love that, and I love your deep knowledge of it. But then, like, as much as we have that, like, we don't know what it was like to be alive then. Someone will watch and be like, "Oh, well, of course I knew what was in that, blah, blah, blah. You have no idea what it was like in the
Right. Well, that's like, I always think about at the end of, I think it's Falling Hair, the Bugs Bunny cartoon, where he's in an airplane with a gremlin, and then the airplane runs out of gas right before it hits the ground, and Bugs says, you know how it is with these A cards. Yeah.
Wait, what does he say?
You know how it is with these A cards, and points at the window, which like I think is something about gas rationing.
I think so. Yeah.
But like I've never actually bothered to look it up. And also like I can imagine it was such a big laugh in the theater in 1943.
Right.
There's actually a lot of that stuff in Looney Tunes, most of which we might not even realize is a current pop culture reference. Like, is it called High Diving Hair when Yosemite Sam makes him jump off the diving board into a
Diving board, yep.
Yeah, there's a moment in that where like there's a door on the diving board and Yosemite Sam is pounding on the door and he says, open the door. And then he turns to the camera and says, you'll notice I didn't say Richard, which is a reference to a popular song of the day, but it just comes across as a non sequitur now.
But which also I thought was hilarious as a kid because my uncle's name is Richard.
Oh.
So I just thought it was like my uncle Richard Fisher, right?
It's a reference to your uncle.
Yeah. Well, he's a real character, you know.
I just want to say, because somebody will say this in the comments if we don't. Jess earlier, just a minute ago, was singing the Three's Company theme song. Of course, that was written by Sesame Street composer and Great Muppet Caper composer Joe Raposo.
That's
I
right.
did that on purpose. No.
Yeah. But anyway, getting back to this one. What else? Okay, so then we see Piggy stamping her beskated feet. So now we do know for sure, even if it's not 1984, we know for sure that she has skates on and she stamps her feet on the ground and then she makes angry eyes, which I love anytime that they have to put special eyes on the Piggy puppet to make her angry. Like,
Terrifying.
it's so funny. You think terrifying? I think cool.
Oh my gosh, yes. In fact, well, you know, Piggy's not my favorite. Sorry, fans.
No, I do. That's actually, it's funny. I actually, when me and Ryan were talking about this, I said, we should get Jess, noted Piggy hater Jess.
Yeah, why did you do that to me? I'm like, this is nothing but Piggy.
I wanted your perspective, your unique perspective.
Well, let me roll it back just a minute. So I'm having a revelatory moment actually with you guys. This might be self-actualization. You know, we say the things that we are repelled from often are things that remind us of ourselves, correct?
Yes.
I think so.
So there's a moment here where Piggy's like, excuse me, may I borrow those? And what you used it, did you say coquette? Like she's like trying to be sweet, right?
Yeah.
Like, to get the damn rollerblades. And it so closely mimics something that Jessica Jeffries that was my name at the time as a girl might have, because if you want something, you want it. And so if you have to be sweet to get it, sometimes you just have to suck it up. And so Piggy and I are very alike in that way.
Yeah. Nice. This is huge. I'm so excited I was here for this.
Well, this podcast is all about self-actualization or whatever you just said. So
flattering.
What was that?
It's maybe not flattering to admit that, but
no, Piggy's great.
Piggy is a great character.
Yeah.
She did get the damn rollerblades. But anyway, back to your question. She turns around and the eyes, and as a kid watching this, I didn't care for her. And so I was like, oh, here we go. Right. And then I have more thoughts on this when we get further on. I don't want to ruin the.
Well, she had angry eyes before in the Muppet movie when she beats up Doc Hopper's goons. So this is
these look different.
They're not the same.
They're not the same angry eyes. I mean, the Piggy puppet had been redesigned by this point. So yeah, these are different
inferior angry eyes.
Oh,
yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, they look like slapped on. Actually.
Oh, do you think so?
Yeah, I didn't think they were great. I didn't think they're great angry eyes. They looked a little too comic book-ish. You know, she's already behaving outlandishly, and now we have freaking,
Huh.
I should probably say those things instead of just verbalizing it. But
you sounded like Joe Pesci in Home Alone.
Oh God, that doesn't sound flattering. You're just not my night.
No, like the parts where he's just like, that's how he said it.
Again, not flattering.
Should we have a contest where people Photoshop different angry eyes onto Piggy's head in the scene?
Oh my gosh, yes.
That'd be fun.
So fun.
All right. So anyways, then as I mentioned, now for a long time, we're going to just watch like back and forth between the mugger running and Miss Piggy chasing him. So I couldn't find the name of Miss Piggy's stunt performer here. Ryan, you said you did a little more research into it. Did you find the name?
Yeah. So when we see Piggy from a distance and she's full body roller skating, that is a stunt double, much like the motorcycle riding Piggy and the high diving Piggy and Great Muppet Caper.
Although I'll say this, I think that this Piggy is more convincing than the motorcycle. Like she seems to be closer to Piggy's actual height than the motorcycle rider looked like she was 5'8". Like,
yeah, I agree. So yeah, three.
Well, let's see. How tall do you think she is?
Well, 3 women are credited as Piggy stunt doubles. It actually comes pretty far down in the end credits of this movie, but their names are Krista Tomasulo, Cheryl Blackman, and Denise Lucadamo. I don't know. And in my research for this season of the podcast, I found a newspaper article about Cheryl Blackman. This was written by Patty Sewell for the Gannett News Service. It was published, among other newspapers, it was published in the Honolulu Star Bulletin on August 22nd, 1983. So that's while they were still filming. That's almost a year before the movie came out. Cheryl Blackman did most of the roller skating. From what it sounds like, that's what she was hired for. She was 20 years old at the time. She was 4 feet 4 inches tall.
Okay.
And
that makes sense.
Yeah, and it says she beat out 100 other people for the role. In the article, her mom says that they first heard about this from an actor friend who was a member of the Little People of America organization. It basically just told them that there's some filmmakers holding auditions for short, strong skaters. And she went to the audition not knowing what project it was, actually, not knowing that she was going to be Miss Piggy. So that's, I mean, I can only imagine, like, okay, yeah, you're a great skater. We want you to be Miss Piggy. So it also said that she and her family were given a suite in the Mayflower Hotel on Central Park West during filming. That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
And her mom also recalled a close call during the filming of the sequence. She said, for one stunt, she had to skate at top speed through some trained pigeons. The pigeons were to scatter as she came through. Take 1 was fine. Take 2, fine. Take 3, and a couple of the birds couldn't get out of the way in time, and I guess she tripped on them. Cheryl flew. She landed on her face. The rubber snout was smashed in, but she wasn't hurt badly. So it's a good thing that she was wearing a pig head, I guess, because it could have been a lot worse when she tripped and fell that way. So yeah, that's Cheryl Blackman. So my guess is that she did most of the roller skating, and then maybe those other 2 women did some of the other stuff, like when she actually jumps off the rock at the end of this clip.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I found.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Interesting. It doesn't sound too good for the birds either to have somebody skate over them.
Well, they were supposed to get out of the way. But no, it never actually really occurred to me. I mean, I guess those weren't just pigeons who happened to be in Central Park, but watching the movie, I've never really thought, oh yeah, these must be specially trained pigeons that they brought in and taught them to get out of the way at a certain moment.
That never would have occurred to me either, actually.
Yeah, that's kind of
really
cool.
Interesting. So that shows the level of that really shows a level that I never actually considered.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I like several times we see an over the shoulder shot of the mugger with Piggy coming after him. We see a shot through his legs of Piggy coming after him. So they clearly were like filming this in unison, at least at some points, syncing up her skating with the mugger run, like at some time they're in the same shot, which that must have taken some wrangling, I think, to make sure that like she looks good in comparison with where they're filming from in front of him and stuff.
Yeah, and I get like she's sort of in the background, kind of out of focus. Maybe we don't think too much about the fact that it's not the normal Piggy puppet while he's in the foreground.
Right, but I mean, like in real life, like this person is wearing a head and also has to keep a certain distance behind this guy.
Right.
And like that can't have been easy. Like
no, and I don't know how easily she could see out of that head.
Right.
So,
well, and as you mentioned with the stunt, the mugger, he went through like trees and, through the bushes, went off the path several times. And that part looked kind of painful to me. Like, that's why you need a trained stunt person it wasn't just like running up and down the paths. It was actual brush.
Yeah, right. Well, and then Piggy takes off after him into it too. We should mention.
Yeah,
exactly. So that's I'm to my point. To your point precisely, this young performer really went above and beyond the normal skating assignment to do this.
Yeah, and it's possible that some of those, like, kind of zooming through the bushes, maybe that was one of the other two stunt doubles, and then they cut back. But still, yeah, like, it's
right, gotcha.
Whoever it was,
very physically demanding. And the stunt, like, this works. I like this as an action scene, actually. Like, the mugger is jumping downstairs and, like, jumping into puddles and stuff. It works really well.
It does well, and even some of the, like, puppetry, because obviously we see Piggy in close up fairly often.
Yeah.
At which point she's a puppet, obviously. But there's one shot here where she's like furiously bouncing down a set of stairs, which obviously, like, there's no skates, like, it's just the Piggy puppet. But also, like, Frank Oz is bouncing down the stairs, like she's clearly at, like, she's not at Frank. She's not above Frank Oz's head with him standing up, right? She's on like an actual Central Park set of stairs. Frank Oz must be, like, laying down or crouched or something to get Piggy at that level.
Yeah, that's interesting. Something is happening to create the effect of bouncing down the stairs. Where, like, is he just, like, lying on a platform and some crew members are just, like, hopping down the stairs? Yeah, I don't know. That would be interesting to find out.
Right. But it's like stuff like that you would never think of while just watching the movie, because it just seems like something that a person would do. But Piggy can't do it. Like, they have to make it look like she can do it.
Yeah. Well, another note I have is in 2020, Frank Oz did a live video event with the Museum of the Moving Image that we've mentioned a couple times before. He said that this sequence was the first time he ever used a Steadicam as a director, which is basically like a device that allows the camera to get a smooth shot, even if it's kind of bumping and jostling around. He said he thought it was also the first time the Muppets had ever used a Steadicam ever in anything, which makes sense because this is only their second feature film.
It's their third feature film.
Third feature film, thank you. But it looks really good. And I was thinking, has Frank Oz ever directed any other chase scenes?
I bet there's something in the score.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah,
that movie's about like a jewel heist,
right? Not really an action movie, but a heist movie. So yeah, probably I should go watch the score again.
I was going to say, is now a good time for me to talk about Central Park?
Sure, by all means.
So, Central Park's that, like, icon, magical land that I just didn't know what it possibly could look like. And then we see this movie. I'd never been there. And I see this movie and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this park. Like, the stairs alone, not just one set of stairs, but multiple sets of stairs, this and that. So I thought this was just movie magic. And what kind of park could really be like this in the middle of a city, right? Fast forward. You've both been to Central Park now, as have I. Mm-hmm. And sure, there are stairs there. And I remember that being one of my first things when I saw the stairs in Central Park. Like, oh, like, it was like a deja vu moment back to the movie theater when I was, like, laughing to myself, what kind of park could this be? I know that sounds very country bumpkin.
No, I love that with all the, like, the zoo and the huge open spaces and everything. You were most excited about the stairs. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So what kind of park has stairs in it?
It's so funny.
It is funny. I grew up in central Pennsylvania, folks. I don't know if that it plays into that or not.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's like, I'm from a very small town also in North Dakota, as you know, a very small town. And I mean, I don't live there now. I live in the Twin Cities, as listeners might recall. But when I went to Central Park, it was, I don't know, 7 years ago. It was 2013. And I got to be honest, I was not at all impressed by Central Park.
Oh, no.
Like, it was just like, oh, this is just a park. this city is impressed with itself for having a giant park. Who
Well,
cares?
it's
No,
impressed.
it has
It's
stairs,
impressed by
Anthony.
maintaining a giant green park in the middle of a city full of skyscrapers and garbage.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, whatever. Fine. Central Park's beautiful. Who cares? But my point is, like, you're from North Dakota and like all you have is flat land as far as the eye can see.
Oh, I got you.
Go to Central Park and it's like, oh, okay, they didn't put buildings here. Good on ya. Great job, everyone. Great job on keeping a space without buildings, you know. But
Very, so from your perspective, so that's funny. Well, then I'm thinking, no, I guess this is before the Central Park 5, right? That was like 5 years later.
Yeah, this is
I
a
wanna-
few, right. I think
would
that
have been
was
late 80s,
89,
yeah.
maybe.
But you were talking about crime. That is something that, like, you knew, like, oh gosh, New York, it's dangerous. It's a dangerous.
Yeah, Central Park at night for sure was a place to avoid. I mean, I don't want to get too much into the Central Park 5 case. If people want to read about it, they can look it up, and they should look it up. But
Of course.
yeah, it was not safe. Like really, probably any park in Manhattan, it was not safe to go into at night in the 80s.
I'm just saying, like, that the ominous Central Park imagery, which then later did play into, which I don't want to break into that topic either. It was like dead set in mind. Like Central Park was kind of like a mugger in Central Park, robbing her in the middle of the day. I mean, that's grabby.
Yeah,
it sure is.
Right. And so it is like a little like shocking too.
Yeah, yeah. In this Muppet movie, but like we've talked about, it's like another sign that this is the most grounded and down to earth Muppet movie.
Agree.
Yeah, right? True.
Because like in the Muppet movie, like Doc Hopper hires a frog killer who dresses in all black,
right.
You know, and in the Great Muppet Caper, like
something
Charles
Durning
has a computer Charles Grodin has a computer deprogrammer.
So he can steal a diamond that's shaped like a baseball.
Right, it's a diamond that's shaped like a baseball and is in a baseball mitt.
Right.
And in this one, it's just like, yeah, Piggy just gets mugged while she's out at the park.
Yeah.
You know, like, but anyways, so as we talked about, the mugger's running away. Kermit and Jenny, we haven't mentioned Kermit and Jenny, who are only in 2 brief shots in this scene. Mm-hmm. The mugger runs past them. And then they notice Piggy, and Kermit says, "Piggy," and then they head out after her. That's really all they do.
They do a quick sort of little tiny comedy take to each other. They just kind of whip their faces toward each other, and then like follow Piggy.
Right. But so the pigger cuts through the woods, as Jess mentioned, and then we get this weird close up of the mugger slamming Piggy's purse against a tree. I'm not sure why we need a close up of that.
I don't know. I think it's just like, part of the let's cut to things. Yeah, fast cuts action scene.
I guess so. But then so he's like finally having escaped his pursuer. He stops in front of a cliff. He's like breathing heavily. He's all sweaty.
He's very sweaty.
And then he starts pulling things out of Piggy's purse. And what do those things include? A high-heeled shoe, a blow dryer, a map of the city, and a letter. Some underwear, I think.
Yes, it looks like underwear.
And a hacksaw.
Right. It's like the Mary Poppins trick where you're pulling something way too big out of a small bag.
It's a tiny purse. And like that's another thing that's like pretty subtle is like I feel like this joke isn't that funny until we get to the hacksaw. And then it's great.
It's not funny at all until he gets the hacksaw, if you even get that when you're 13. And when I got to look at that purse with all that crap in it, I was like, I can't believe she chased after him for that. It's annoying to me.
Yeah, it's a good point though, because it is already, the bag is already too small to fit the shoes and the hairdryer. But yeah, you're right. It doesn't really register until he pulls that long hacksaw out of that little bag.
Well, because also shoes and a hairdryer or something like, okay, maybe the pig would have that on her. But then
she needs to dry her hair at work.
She has to maintain that perm.
Right, yeah.
And that's very 80s too, like satin ladies fanny pack purse with all that like hair care stuff in it.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
This rock, I want to say I have every time I'm in Central Park, I look around in the hopes of locating this rock. I know our friend Johannes and I have both done this. It's just a rock, though. It's going to be pretty hard to find. I have no idea where it is. I did click through a page about Central Park rocks on the Central Park Conservancy website.
I love that.
It did not give me any clues as to where this one might be located, but it did tell me that the bedrock found throughout New York City ranges in age from 190 million to 1.1 billion years old. And many of the outcrops you see in Central Park were shaped by ice. So that's fascinating.
Yeah. It does look like an ice sediment.
And just think that in a second, Piggy is going to jump off a 1 billion year old rock.
Yes. And then, and indeed, thank you, Ryan. That's what happens. He did not escape because Piggy jumps off a cliff and lands on his head, which is great. And like, as a kid, it was like such a like fist in the air moment, right? Maybe not for Jess. Jess was like, he deserves that purse more than Piggy does.
100%. Give it up, girl.
But anyways, so she lands right on top, and then a cop comes over and helps her off and asks what's going on. And the mugger says, she stole my purse. Which is like, I don't know, it's like kind of a joke. It's cute.
I think he really sells it though. It's like she stole my purse. It's funny the way he does it.
Yeah, I do like his delivery.
So I have a totally different reaction to that.
Tell me.
It's a little bit of like a homophobe thing.
Do you think so?
Yeah, boys didn't carry purses in 1984.
Well, right, no, I know, but he's just like,
I know,
just like him, like saying something dumb to try to get out of getting arrested,
to try to
right?
shake the cop off.
Yeah, agree.
I don't think that he thinks the cop is going to be like, oh, icky, a man who carries a purse, like, right?
No, I didn't mean it that way, but I don't know when he says like, oh, I don't know.
That's never occurred to me.
Sure, huh? Anyways, what is perfect to me is that Piggy then yells, "That'll teach you to mess with a lady, understand?" Which is like such a good Piggy line, I think.
She's no lady.
Oh, she is in her heart.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess we all are in our hearts.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, then we're just about to the end here, but then two women help Piggy pick up the things in her purse, and I want to clear up a misconception that has plagued the internet as long as it's existed. I looked today, and IMDb still credits both Kathy Mullen and Karen Prell as helpful women in park, and neither of these women are Kathy Mullen or Karen Prell.
No,
like I can kind of see the similarities. Like one has brown hair that is kind of like Kathy Mullen's hair, and the other one has like shoulder length black hair, which Karen Prell had like in the Muppet Show days.
Huh.
But and certainly I love the idea that this would be Kathy Mullen and Karen Prell doing a cameo. Like I wish that was the case, but it just isn't the case. This is not either of them.
No, I remember seeing speculation about that, like maybe on the Muppet Central Forum 20 years ago, where, you know, as fans, we get excited about things, and it's like, oh, here's two women with dark hair, and Kathy Mullen and Karen Prell are also two women with dark hair, and they worked on this movie, therefore it would be so cool if it was them. But yeah, no, I didn't know it was on IMDb. I wonder how hard it would be to get them to remove that.
Yeah, I don't know. And actually, okay, hold on just a second. I think it
would be hard to get them to remove it.
Yeah.
Well, you can like submit requests though. I mean, any user can submit like suggestions, you know. But yeah, I'm looking at the website at IMDb now, and Kathy Mullen. Here, let me scroll down. Kathy Mullen is credited as Jill the Frog /Chicken /Helpful Woman in Park, and Karen Prell is credited as Yolanda the Rat /Frank the Dog /Helpful Woman in Park. So that is a lie. That is a falsehood, and IMDb should remove it. So you're right. We should get on that.
Does IMDb also still credit Jim Henson as one of the construction workers in Ernest Goes to Camp?
Let's see. I'm looking.
Which,
because the guy just has a beard.
He
right?
is like, not. Yeah, I think it's just like Oh, there's a guy with a beard in the 80s, therefore it must be Jim Henson.
Must be Jim Henson, the only bearded man in town.
Yes.
At that, and by town I mean whatever camp Ernest goes to.
Hollywood.
Campus.
You mean Hollywood?
Yes. Did Jim Varney ever work with the Muppets? He never did, right?
I don't think he did, and I wish he had. I liked that guy.
Yeah.
I liked Ernest.
Yeah, me too, and it would have been fun. And he also seems like somebody who would have turned up on Sesame Street.
Jess is shaking her head as if she does not agree that Ernest is fun.
I'm not into him. No.
But I think that might be the age difference. Like Ryan and I were both kids during the golden age of Ernest. Like we were.
I hated them as well. And
but that's what I'm saying. You were a teen and we were little kids. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. It's also just not my that's not my I don't like Jim Carrey much either.
Sure.
Those big caricature characters always kind of turn me off a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
All right.
Not to your point, but hey, can I go back to something?
Yeah, of course.
So regarding the purse statement, I think what makes me have that reaction is here we have a man who's the mugger who steals something from a woman who's the piggy.
The piggy.
She pursues him in what many would perceive to be an aggressive, manly fashion, right? And fails. And then his response is, "Oh, she stole my purse." Like he's taking the
feminine.
Yes. And then it's underscored by her saying, "That'll teach you to treat a lady, blah, blah, blah." Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sure. I can see it. I definitely see it.
I see what you mean, for sure.
So, and I don't think it was malicious or anything, but there again is an interplay. It was much more in the times. For Piggy's, when Piggy acted like that and pulled the bars apart, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a Piggy aficionado or expert or anything, but that's part of her thing is she has this feminine, quality. She's this feminine pig, but then she has this aggressive, for lack of a better term, masculine energy that is a pure dichotomy of her as pig. I mean, hello.
I know exactly. I see what you're saying.
Yes. Hello, that is essential to Piggy's character. Yeah, the aggressiveness, and then but what she really wants is to be this very feminine, glamorous movie star.
So it's this whole thing that's wrapped up in that. And I don't want to derail. We're nearing the end of these minutes, of course, but in case people want to think about this in their own free time.
Definitely. We love derailing.
That is part of the historical attraction of certain groups that were, feel empowered by Piggy, certain gay men, for example. I don't mean to categorize or make stereotypes, but there are certain maybe empowered groups that feel empowered through Piggy, that historically have felt empowered through Piggy, more so in the 80s and when she was in her heyday, expressing those things that now are so commonly expressed in pop culture that it's me bringing it up is a reminder of something that slipped past now almost. There's 20 years progress when it comes to certain thinking and social lines. So I just wanted to clarify that. That's, I think, why I had that reaction to that, because it's so typified a difference in the way we characterize things in pop culture from then and now.
Yeah. Oh, no, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really interesting. That's a really interesting perspective.
Yeah. So actually, Jess, I'm going to ask you another question, because like you mentioned, that's the end of these minutes.
Yes.
Actually, Ryan, did you have anything else you wanted to say before we?
I believe I do. Let me see. Well, I wanted to. So I was looking. I paused it at the moment when the mugger looks up to see Piggy flying at her. It looks like there's more stuff on the ground, maybe more stuff that he pulled out of her purse. I couldn't really make out most of it, but it looked like her gloves and maybe a magazine and something that looked like possibly it kind of looked like an oxygen mask from an airplane. That's probably not what it was, but I wonder if they shot more of him pulling weird things out of her purse, and then they just cut it because it was getting to be too much.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's probable.
Oh, I presumed that they purposefully splayed all that stuff out there just to bring that joke like to its final shore, you know, in case you still didn't get it after he pulled the hacksaw out, like when you pulled back, like, oh my God, look at all that stuff.
Yes, there's so much stuff in her purse. Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah.
Also, the cop here is played by a guy named Joe Jamrog. He doesn't have a lot of credits out there, so I'm guessing he's probably another one of these New York theater actors who appeared in this movie. But his credits that are on IMDb include The Fisher King, a few Law and Order episodes, the movie United '93, and Arthur 2 on the Rocks, which also starred Liza Minnelli, who we just saw a few minutes ago. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Also, finally, in the March 7th, 1983 draft of the screenplay, there's an even crazier stunt here. So I'm just going to read this excerpt. It says, "The thief is still running. Piggy sees a construction area ahead of her. There is a corrugated steel pipe about 4 feet high and 15 feet long. The end furthest from Piggy is being lifted 10 feet off the ground by a crane. The thief runs around it. Piggy skates right into the end that is still on the ground, and she comes flying out in an arch from the other end, flying about 10 feet in the air, screaming all the way and landing on the thief." So that would have been spectacular to see, but they probably figured that was like past the limit of too dangerous for the stunt doubles.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's kind of like something out of a cartoon. Just like a crane is picking up the pipe and Piggy just sails through it and flies 10 feet in the air. So it would have been fun to see.
Yeah.
But
she's too much.
but she could have been even more.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, sure. So Jess, what we like to ask our guests is, do you remember the first time you saw this movie? Where would you rank it among the Muppet movies?
I remember the first time I saw it in a movie theater in my hometown. And I did not love it. I don't want to do spoiler, but there were certain things that happened later in the movie that I was like, no, I won't say the curse word to make Brian bleep it out later. Way, this is wrong.
I'm so curious what you're talking about.
Well, you'll have to wait for me to put it on the forum.
Everyone has seen this movie.
Yeah, you can tell. You can say it. Our listeners they demand to know.
I'm not into the marriage.
Oh,
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. I get that.
I hated that.
Yeah.
I hated that.
Well, especially, if you thought, which at the time they sort of wanted people to think like, this is it, Carmen and Piggy are finally getting married for real. Like, especially if you didn't like Piggy, I can see how that would not be
also,
something you wanted to see.
No, and also, like, I mean, it's not, it just seemed so ugly and mean and twisted. Like, this is not, as a young girl, the true love I looked forward to.
because she like hires a priest and all that.
Because she tricks him
behind his back.
Utter manipulation, and I'll be candid. Perhaps this touches a trigger point for me. You know, like lies and secrecy. Like to me,
sure.
Everything about this was just wrong. Like, who participates in something like this? It's lunatic. It's lunacy. Not right.
Yeah.
No.
Sure.
So I did not care for it. I did not care for it. Did not. And I wasn't a Muppet Baby fan either, just because of my age. That didn't hit my like thing. So that was kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, because you're what, about 13 when this came out?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like into Muppets and went and saw in the theater and everything, but then I was like, well, that's some
right.
You know, like teenagers do.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Now, where would I rank it? It's risen considerably in, you know, obviously there's nostalgia. A lot of it too, I'll say this is one of the beauties of fandom and long-term longevity in Muppet fandom. So many of your friends enjoy things and share perspective that your memories become woven with theirs. Yeah. So like you can find enjoyment over productions and movies and things simply because you know that it tickled your friends. And so it rises significantly when I view it through that lens.
Sure.
So, And also too, it's on, you watch it with your children, it's on TV or whatever. And so it's, I think I watched that with the Orange Cat when I brought stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, all right. So that I think just about brings us down to the end. Thank you so much for being here, Jess. Always a delight to have you.
It's fun. Thanks for having me.
Listeners, you can check out toughpigs.com on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're all over the place. You can email us at movinrightalong@toughpigs.com. Thank you to Stacy Rosen for writing our theme music and to Morgan Davey for designing our logo. You can follow Ryan on Twitter at @MeRyanRowe. And Jess, where can our listeners find the elusive Jess Evans?
Well, on the Tough Pigs forum.
On the Tough Pigs forum, talking about how much she hates Kermit and Piggy's wedding.
And all kinds of things. That's my jam.
Go to toughpigs.com and click on the link on the left that says forum.
And you almost always comment on the podcast.
I do. Yep. I love the podcast. I'll even listen to my own podcast and comment on this podcast.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing. You always forget to say something. Like all of us, like every time I listen to the show, I'm like, oh, I should have thought of something else. I shouldn't have talked about Bugs Bunny meeting a gremlin for that long.
Well, and
no, I think you should have talked about that longer.
Sometimes I'll listen to it again. Like, I'll read someone else's comments or perspective, and I'll be like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. And so then I'll go back and kind of listen to it. That's what is so fun about having something like the podcast, because just like the forum, it's the party that never ends. You can always go back there and re-listen to it and re-enjoy it. So thanks for doing it, you guys. Thanks. We love you.
Thanks for listening, and thanks for coming on. It really is always a pleasure. Like we've talked about, this is the only time you and I talk like out loud to one another, is like when you come on the show. So it's really fun. It's really fun to talk to you.
Well, we saw each other in the Big Apple.
The Big Apple, that's right. Which was much more fun than going to Central Park.
Yes. Well, I mean, the Central Park has been a part of the Tough Pigs New York City experience for a while, because you guys do the bench tour, right?
Yep.
Right. Yeah, which we talked about last week.
Oh, I wasn't here then.
Right.
No, you'll hear it in a few weeks.
You'll hear it. But yeah, so that was great. I hope I get back there someday. Yeah. I'm going to go back there someday, if you will.
Me too.
And then all right. We'll see you then.
See you then.
2026. We'll be there. All right. So, listeners, if you're so inclined, give us a positive review on iTunes and tell all your friends to listen to Moving Right Along. We'll be back next week with another episode. Goodbye.
Bye.